To our first workshop panel session of today, which is on drivers of digital competence development in the form of the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalitions. Please give a warm hand for our speakers today, which are Mary Cleary, Nello Iacono, Aleksandar Raić, Fabio Nascimbeni, and Tomislava Recheva. As a first round of introduction, I will give the floor to our speakers, who will introduce themselves a bit to you and tell you a bit about their work in their respective countries that they're representing and the coalitions that they're working for. And we're going to begin with Mary Cleary, who is the Secretary General of the Irish Computer Society, who is the coordinator of also ICT. So give a especially warm welcome to her, to Mary Cleary, please.
Hello, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak to you a little bit about the Irish Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition and the work that we're doing in order to further the digital competence of the people in our country. So maybe I will share my screen and pop up a few slides for you to see. But I didn't quite hear the introduction, but Mary Cleary is my name. I'm the Secretary General of the Irish Computer Society, and I coordinate the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition in Ireland. And this work, I think, syncs very well with some work that I do in the area of professional digital competence as well. And I chair the SEN Technical Committee 428 on ICT professionalism and digital competences. So I'm going to see if this screen will share for me. So I'm hoping that you can see my slides now. So just quickly to give you a little bit of background on the Irish Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition. So we have set this up in Ireland as an informal multi-stakeholder partnership. So it's nothing too structured. It's an organization, if you like, that's open to anybody who's involved in the digital competence sphere. We want people to be willing to share their experiences and their knowledge. We want as wide a group of people to participate as possible, and we want to disseminate and communicate the work that we are doing collectively, and make sure that the initiatives are of a high quality, that they're monitored and evaluated regularly. Obviously, we seek to tackle the shortage of digital skills in Europe, right from the very lowest level, the basic digital competence that citizens need to carry out their daily activities, and also the higher level professional skills that we need to tackle the targets of the digital agenda in Europe. And so that, of course, requires that we consider the growing demand for ICT professionals and digital skills in all industry. We're not only talking about the IT industry, but we're talking across the board. Every industry, every job requires a high level of digital competence these days. And we make sure that the initiatives that we're involved in and the work that we're doing is always aligned to the European policy landscape. So the goals that we have are the common goals that we have among the coalitions right across Europe: to educate and train more young people, to upskill and to reskill the labor force with the digital skills that they need for productivity. And as I mentioned, particularly now, a few years after the establishment of our coalition, we've updated our goals to include and to put a very strong emphasis on the digital decade targets, particularly in relation to the IT specialist competence level, which is critical for the I suppose the success of the European economy and for the sovereignty, the digital sovereignty of Europe, which is a very important factor for us to consider. And in doing all of this, we have to make sure that our education and training systems are modernized and are suitable for the digital age. So we're involved in communicating with our government and letting them know and giving them the benefit of our experience and our knowledge in terms of how this can be done to the best effect. And overall, the improvement of citizens' digital skills is really important for strengthening social inclusion and social cohesion, and having people feel that they really belong to a society that can benefit from the advances of technology. So the range of the needs and the scope. So what we're looking at is a situation where we have an objective to have a very high level of the population in Europe having at least basic digital skills. And so right across Europe, we have this picture where we have, an average of about 58% of people having at least basic digital skills, and smaller amounts then having a high level, above above average level digital skills. And this is what we're working from, and we're trying to raise the level of all of these bars in this graph across the board, so that we can have some real impact on how technology is used in Europe and is benefiting the citizens of Europe. So the DESI index, the Eurostat figures are our baseline that we work towards. Within Ireland, we have structured our coalition. As I said, it's an informal organization. At the moment, we have about 50 member organizations, and they are, from government. We have the public sector, we have private companies, we have education partners, we have universities and unions, social enterprise partners. We have people who are working in all kinds of charitable ways to raise the digital skills. So it's very broad. We work, with anybody in the country who has a focus on digital skills, and we try to support them and have a kind of community and of best practice, really, and a supportive sharing community within our coalition. The Irish Computer Society acts as the secretariat, coordinating all of the work that these different organizations are doing. So part of what we did was to look at what could be done within our country to raise the level of digital skills, and we listed a priority for action. And then when we had our priorities, we looked at all the initiatives that we could find that were going on, particularly those organized by our member organizations, but others as well. And we looked at government policies, we looked at action plans, etc., and anything that could contribute to the overall body of knowledge, if you like, about digital competence development within Ireland. And that was our starting point. So this is just a screenshot of some of the policy documents that we pulled together, and we have all of these are published on our digitalcoalition.ie website, and this is just a small sample of the kinds of documentation that we have collected. So we made a list of priorities, and we made this list a couple of years ago. And even though a lot of work is being done and a lot of work has been completed, we haven't changed the list of priorities very much, because we find that that as we get involved in upskilling people, that the need appears to grow. So it could be that the population is changing. It could be that we have people coming from other countries to live in Ireland. It could be that our expectations are higher. It could be, a whole lot of different reasons are enabling us to to continue what we're doing, but also to have the same priorities and the same focus in terms of the kind of activity that we're doing. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through each of these individually. You can see them there, but it is very important that we understand what we mean by digital skills. And when we're talking to different cohorts of the population, that we know what we mean, and we don't have expectations that are too high for people at the beginning end of the spectrum, and that we can still be very ambitious in terms of the higher level IT professionals and the level of skill and competence that we expect that they will have, so that they can contribute to the growing economy of our own country, but also of Europe in general. A lot of it is around the methodology of skills development, utilizing our education system, making sure that our teachers are up to date with their with their knowledge and also their teaching methodologies. I think we've discovered that this is very, very important. We know that there are obstacles that prevent people from gaining digital skills. And some of these can be around access to devices. It can be around access to the internet. It can be socioeconomic, lots of different reasons. And we have to work with organizations that are active in the social sphere as well, so that we can address all of those elements as well. I think that a factor that we found was very significant and helpful was to recognize and support employers in the development of the digital skills of their workers. Employers have a responsibility to develop their workers and to keep them current and up to date with the kind of competence that they need for their work. So that's something that we're quite strong on. Always, whenever you have a conversation about digital skills, we always come back to the participation of girls and women in the IT industry. And that's something that we are very strong on as well. And we have a lot of initiatives around promoting ICT as a career choice for girls, both informally and through the curriculum, and making sure that they have the motivation and the encouragement and the support, as well as the access to all of the educational opportunities that are there. And finally, I will mention that I think it's really important that we look at alternative approaches to developing professional level competence for people to have careers in IT. So we're, obviously we have the traditional university type of education, the undergraduate, but we have a very strong focus on apprenticeships and enabling people to get their qualifications through the accumulation of micro-credentials, and lots of different ways of just renewing the approach to education and training, and not being stuck on the same way of doing things year after year. Advanced digital skills, I mentioned, is very important, and it's a particular area that I'm personally interested in. And we know that there's a large number of vacancies right across Europe for IT specialists. And, if we want to reach our target of having 20 million IT professionals by 2030, I think we, really need to make sure that our focus is very, very firmly on this. So the work that I've been doing within SEN focuses on ICT professionalism and digital competence. And I think this kind of focus raises the stature and the status of ICT as a profession, and it enables it to be something that young people can aspire to and can feel that they want to be proud of being a member of this community of professionals. And so we provide standards through SEN that enable people who are working in ICT to really feel that they are professionals, that they have standards of knowledge, they have professional code of ethics, they have an education and training pathway, and they have very clearly defined competences and skills that are required for their profession. And this is a really key element of the work of the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition in Ireland. And it's something that we like to put a lot of emphasis on. So generally, I think in terms of raising the level of digital skills, the strategy that we adopt, whether it's in an individual country, through a government approach, or through a more informal approach like through the coalition, it needs to be comprehensive and inclusive. And that means that it needs to look at all sorts of different ways of encouraging people to participate in digital upskilling, and it has to be inclusive so that nobody is omitted, nobody is denied an opportunity to be involved. So this multifaceted approach is one that involves government and government policy and government funding. It involves the educational institutions, it involves businesses and companies, and the bulk of civil society. So this is, I think, the beauty of the coalition movement, and this is what we found helpful with the coalition in Ireland, is the fact that we can bring people together on a level playing pitch, where we have people from civil society who are running upskilling initiatives, maybe with the elderly, or maybe with young people, or maybe with different groupings within society, and they sit around the same table as the government policy makers, as the senior people in our universities or in our schools and in our businesses, and they share ideas and they help each other and they encourage each other to keep this this upskilling approach live and, as I say here, flexible and adaptive to meet all of the evolving needs of the digital age. So this collaboration, I think, is very key, and that's why I like the word coalition in this movement. And in terms of digital skills and how to get there, we have, I said, many different initiatives in Ireland, and they are quite similar, I'm sure, to initiatives that are taking place in other countries across Europe as part of the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition. And so I've listed some of the kind of key areas that we focus on, and just to say a couple of words about them, not to go into a huge amount of detail, because they're what you would expect, I think, really, when you talk about the kinds of things that people would do to raise digital skills. Education reform, of course, is always important, because if our education systems were perfect, then everything would be good. We wouldn't have to be making special efforts to integrate digital literacy into our curricula. Right from the very early stages of primary school, we wouldn't have to look at special programs to promote coding and computer science as essential core subjects, not optional subjects, but core literacy subjects. These are all really very important. Digital inclusion programs, of course, are relate to the breadth of society and making sure that everybody gets an opportunity to be involved. Workplace training, I spoke about employers being involved in training their staff, their employees also. Government initiatives, we have to have our government involved. Government policy is critical. And I think the coalition movement is very strong in its ability to encourage the development of appropriate government initiatives for this. So across the board, research and development, cross-sector collaboration. All of these things are really very important. I think, though, that the last item there, number 15, the feedback mechanisms, I think that's critical. And we have found that through the meetings we hold with our coalition partners, we can provide some informal feedback loops to the work that's being done. So our members can talk about the initiatives that they're carrying out, and they can discuss them, and they can talk about the obstacles that they approached and how they overcame them, and they can get advice and support and suggestions from other members of the coalition. And we found that this was a very useful way of managing the feedback and the evaluation of the initiatives that are taking place. So I think really that's the main element of the work that we're currently doing in Ireland. But I did want to mention, and I'm sure Tomislava will come back to this as well, the Digital Skills and Jobs platform, because this has been a really fantastic initiative for us and for our coalition. And, you know, the two elements of this, the core platform and then the generic platform, where you have the single point of access and the national websites linking back into this core platform. It's been really a great way of getting all of the information in one place, so that the resources and the activities and the opportunities and the news, that it all can be shared right across the entire community. So that's been an extremely useful tool for us, and I think it probably has been for other coalitions as well. So we're just coming to the end of a 3-year implementation period, and so I'm hoping that we'll be able to keep this activity you know, going, and so that it doesn't fizzle out, because it's been really a very, very strong supporter for the work that we're doing. The idea of having a one-stop shop listing the initiatives and the events and the resources I've mentioned, and exchanging best practice across Europe, that's really very, very beneficial to us. And of course, it helps us in the Irish Computer Society to support the professionalism agenda that we have, that's core to our mission for the IT professionals within our country. So really, that's my little contribution about the Irish Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition. So I hope that's been of some interest. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary, for this very comprehensive introduction. And I think actually it only scratched the surface, actually, which goes to show how much there is to in depth. We could go on in each of these single points that you listed. I'd like to now, on the national perspective, and zoom out to the Skills and Jobs platform. And with that, I would like to hand over to Tomislava Recheva, who is project manager with of European Schoolnet, who are also responsible for managing the Digital Skills and Jobs platform. Tomislava, over to you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me well. It's breaking a bit from my side when you talk there, but I hope I heard well that it's my turn to present. I'll just try to share screen because I haven't used Zoom for a while. I hope you can see the presentation. Just trying to put it on a slideshow now. Yeah. Please flag somehow if you're not seeing the presentation. I can see it on my side. I'm very excited to be presenting at the All Digital Summit, and thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you, Mary, for the very nice transition into my presentation, because you already spoke a little bit about what we're doing, and of course I will be speaking myself a lot of the work that we're doing with the National Coalition, so it's a very nice coordination between the two presentations. So I will not waste time. I have been invited here to present the Digital Skills and Jobs platform, and what that means in terms of initiatives and digital infrastructure that we have. So very quickly, the Digital Skills and Jobs platform went live in May 2021 with certain objectives in mind. And since then, following these objectives, we have been trying to evolve. This is a European Commission initiative that our consortium is implementing on behalf of the Commission. So we work very closely with DG Connect, HDEA, and a lot of other units across the European Commission in order to really try to gather relevant information at European and national level and present it to the audience. So very quickly on the objectives, the idea of the platform is to really become a center of information on all the digital skills initiatives and actions that are taking place at national and European level. And as mentioned, we are trying to channel all the information coming from different Commission and European initiatives into this platform, so it's easy to find, because of course we know that all the information is scattered. There are a lot of stakeholders working on different aspects at different locations, and of course, the aim of this project is to really try to center everything in one home for digital skills, we call it. And with this, of course, we try to support the skills pillar of the Digital Europe program. And I will talk a little bit more about this later. A core partner or a core stakeholder for us, because the platform is not only a website, it is, or the idea is to have a community around it. So for us, the national coalitions for digital skills and jobs are a center. We have been collaborating for the last few years very closely, and of course we try to facilitate collaboration not only between us and the national coalitions, but between national coalitions themselves. And I will speak later on what the activities we do with them. And of course, with all this, we try to facilitate further all the initiatives that address the growing digital skills gap and their contribution to the digital decade targets. The project itself features a platform which, in order to serve all these objectives, also has the intention to become smarter and smarter in terms of functionalities that it can offer to the users. The close partners of the platform are, of course, as I mentioned, national coalitions. We have a network of contributors across the different units at the European Commission, which bring information to us, because sometimes the information is too scattered. We do have a platform advisory panel that meets regularly, and that guides the strategic focus of the platform, where of course we also have representatives of the some of the national coalitions. It's on rotating principle, their representation. And last but not least, we have been interacting more and more, and this will continue further with different projects that have been funded previously through the Connecting Europe facility, and now through the Digital Europe program that focus on digital skills and advanced digital skills. The idea between this collaboration is, of course, to give visibility to the content and the trainings that they're doing on the platform, and to guide the users to the relevant training opportunities. This is a bit more linked to the target of end users. At the same time, we try target a lot of other stakeholders and communities across Europe. A few more details about the core platform and the national coalitions, as Mary already gave some details on the collaboration. There are 22 national coalitions that have been funded to connect to the platform technically, which means that they are developing an API through which they connect to the platform. And many of you may not understand what this technical language means, but in very brief, this means that a national website, a website of the national coalition, can automatically send content to the core platform, which is being published, which is being translated first of all, and then published on the core platform. The idea is that we give visibility to all the actions happening at national level that could be of interest to other national coalitions or to other stakeholders that may be even looking for inspiration or partners to do similar things. It's quite technical, but the final output is really a lot of information flowing through the websites. Also, national coalitions take information from the platform in order to bring it to the stakeholders at national level. We have regular monthly meetings with all the national coalitions where we try to focus on topics that are of interest to the majority. Every time we try to give visibility to different initiatives or good practices that the national coalitions are implementing in order to really make information available so that collaboration is easier in the end. Our team, we have a big editorial support that supports this content flow, because of course this requires a lot of editorial work behind in order to present it in the language and the style of the platform as it has to be. And in order to really generate interest across communities at European level and national level, we try to do joint campaigns. We have a campaign around the anniversary of the core platform where national coalitions are very involved. We have other campaigns as well where we jointly choose topics and try to generate activities, events, social media campaigns to attract stakeholders and users. And last but not least, a very pleasant element of the whole collaboration is, of course, the face-to-face meeting that we have once per year, where I know that the desire is that it happens even more often. And of course, we're trying to push for that as well. As I mentioned, content is core for this platform. We try to publish a lot of information coming from the national coalitions. I have put just some extracts here. At the same time, there are a lot more sources of information that we try to juggle and to give visibility to on daily basis. So in terms of communication, we also have a schedule where we try to give visibility to various initiatives. Recently, we have started a new series where we also give overviews of digital skills initiatives and actions at national level. We have digital briefs where we try to give a bit of a more in-depth overview, or not really a definition, but still a better understanding of what digital skills are, for example, for the end users, as Mary was mentioning, that of course a definition is needed. And in this kind of in-depth articles, we try to tackle different topics that are of interest. In addition to that, we have a lot of training opportunities, opinion pieces. We also have funding opportunities, overviews across countries now. So we are trying to expand the information sources that we have. And of course, the majority of this comes from national coalitions, from experts and from different external users. What is very interesting is also the interactive map that we host on the platform, where we try to generate or to summarize information from DESI, from the DESI report from recovery and resilience plans, and of course information coming from national coalitions to summarize it for each country. We update it regularly, so we are looking forward now to the new DESI report that should come out soon. So you will receive up-to-date information on the different initiatives and let's say some statistics on the skills level at every country. Now, since very recently, every country on the map also leads to a more detailed country page where you can get even further information on these topics. As our objective is to try to center all different initiatives that have been done or are being done at the European level, we have revived the pledges for digital skills. Previously, there was a different website that was hosting the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition pledges. Now these have been moved to the platform. We have an active help desk or support desk running or reviewing the pledges together jointly with the European Commission. So we support the Commission in the review process of the pledges, and we have regular campaigns. We give visibility to the organizations that are pledging, and all of this, of course, is with the aim to support any initiative that is aiming to contribute to reaching the digital decade targets. Very quickly on the Cyber Skills Academy, which is also something new on the platform. That was an initiative of the European Commission in the context of the European Year of Skills, and it was launched earlier this year following a communication in April. So right now the platform hosts the information about this initiative and reviews and publishes pledges which are specifically focusing on cybersecurity skills. So far we have 9, and we have been actively engaging with different organizations that work particularly on cybersecurity. A very important point, I know, also for national coalitions funding. We have been trying to be a center of information when it comes to the Digital Europe program. We have a dedicated page where we publish all the information about it. We publish the relevant link when it comes to new calls and question and answer sessions, info days. We organize info days for relevant calls that are focusing on skills and advanced digital skills. And as such, we have tried to generate a networking group called Partner for Digital Skills. With time, this group is growing. So far, we have around 400 members, and the idea is to really give space and forum for these organizations to find partners when it comes to new upcoming calls. We will be doing that in the future as well. And just a sneak peek into the future, the idea is also to try to provide a bit of a more smarter functionality when it comes to matchmaking between different organizations, but this is still to come. We have taken up again the European Digital Skills Awards. That was an initiative that was paused for a couple of years, but it was revived again this year. So we already had one edition of the European Digital Skills Awards, and we saw that it's really needed because there are a lot of initiatives at national level that need visibility and support. So this will definitely be repeated next year. So stay tuned for that. Last but not least, when I mentioned SMART and the development and the evolution of the platform, we have been working on new features in terms of more guided paths of learning content, different type of contents for users that are curated on our site. To provide reference and links to different training opportunities, resources with different levels of complexity. And we have been working on a content recommender. We know that having so much content on the platform sometimes makes it difficult to navigate and to find the relevant information. So that is why we're trying to become smarter in this regard by recommending content to the users as well. With this, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you very much for the attention, and I look forward to the discussion.
Tomislava. Also, another due to health reasons. Next, I would like to zoom in again onto a national perspective and advisory board. Another set of many hats, as all speakers do today. The Italy Innovazione, and also for the Italian government's Republic, and in that function also speaking here today. Over there. Italian coalition and your president.
No? We start from the situation of Italy, and is based on the Eurostat data of but is significant for our situation. Death of the population without details of people in this situation, and 50 about skill, digital skills, and this is a problem for disinformation problem, or also criminal use of internet in the network. And this is a great problem, and with this initiative, it is started in 2019. Real because we launched the national coalition that was as a color in the year previous. Important that we established the committee with private and also NGO subjects and actors. And we also elaborated the first strategy, national strategy, And we started also with the a continuing improvement cycle, just to have not only a plan to implement this strategy, but also a way to know if the impact was what we can desire. So the Repubblica Digitale continued in the years, and we have now more than 300 initiatives, and we are also going with the first initiatives also in the National Resilience and Recovery Plan. These are the work of the Repubblica of of subject universities and so private sector. We have about 70 organizations from public, private, and also NGO. And we are also the contribution of citizens in consultations for the most for the chief, the principal national coalition as working through a working group, and we have in this moment 4 working group. One, gaming, how gaming can for the digital culture, but also for the what are the risks for users in gaming, in platform in this moment, and digital gender gap, digital inclusion, and also we started about with a working group with the ICT specialist skills. These working groups are multi-stakeholder with institutions, private sector, and institutions. And we start also collaboration with this national coalition is important also to because we want that initiatives of the national coalitions are the strategy, and also that all the initiatives can contribute to the plan of the strategy. And the numbers of the initiatives are significant, and in last year, in 2022, about 4 million of people that was trained for the people, because there are specific school very important in it. So the citizens from online training, but also face-to-face initiatives. Our strategy is on what we learned about national coalition that was before. One is the annual coalition. So the four axes of intervention are the same. So the Irish coalition, the first is about our education and training, active workforce, ICT specialist skills, and citizen. For each of the there is a coordinator by government, so a ministry is in charge for the coordination of these acts, and in order to have a responsibility for the plan that has to implement the strategy. So there are also not only actions from institutions, but also from association and private sector, but also indicators, because we want to have a measure of progress of the plan. And so we have a cycle, an annual cycle to check if we are in the right way to implement the and if we are going to reach our target. So we targets. One of the first important is the 70% of people with at least basic digital skills in 2026, and this is current with the European of 80 in 2030. And it's important because each year we are going to assess the results of the actions, and also if they have been if they are get a significant impact on national and last year we have to just to cope with the problems that we the monitoring going this. Another thing that is important is that we are going to, in the plan, we want to integrate the vision of the institutions and association, and so the actions are thought to be integrated in the national indicators. And so we are going in this path. Thanks.
Next, we're just doing a small hop over the Adriatic, and we arrive here in Croatia. For this purpose, I'm inviting Aleksandar Raić, who gives us a bit of an additional perspective on what the Croatian National Coalition is doing, in the sense that we had Mary, who was coming from the Irish Computer Society and the standardization background. We had the more government-focused approach from Italy just now with the national program. And Aleksandar Raić is the Vice President of Infobip, which is the first ever Croatian unicorn. So the startup that reached a value of over $1 billion. I hope there are many more to come. And in this role, he's also a vice president of the Croatian Association of Employers. So we hear a bit from the private sector and the industry perspectives on their work with the coalitions. What are the aspects of the work that the Croatian coalition is doing? Are you particularly what they'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, okay, thank you for a question. Hi, everybody. So I don't have a deck, but, you know, like maybe just to say that activities that different countries has in that area of digital coalition for skills and jobs, we're doing the similar things. So what Mary presented for Irish, I think I recognize a lot of things we are doing as well. So we have national coalition, where actually HUP, which is our Croatian Employer Association, is playing control, but we have also universities, there are government, you know, different institutions involved to help, you know, the country to increase our digitalization skills. Generally, we are okay with the, let's say, current positioning of digital skills in Croatia. I think we should not be happy, but, you know, among many these DESI indexes, we are among top 10, let's say, countries in Europe. In some areas, we even like top 3, which is surprising. But, you know, like generally, digitalization skills in Croatia is not that bad. What is our problem is actually a bit different. So our problem is, first of all, for us, it's very hard to keep ICT professionals because, you know, very good students and, you know, guys, we have a lot of, you know, young people from, you know, high schools who are going to different worldwide global IT Olympiads or things or like competitions, and they're coming with gold medals very often. So we have like good people with a good skill set. We have good universities, but unfortunately, we was leader #1 in Europe in 2021 with the people we lost in ICT. So we was the leader in the European Union with the number of ICT professionals left the country, right? So it's still not getting better. We have problem with retention of our people. They're going elsewhere, including Ireland, to marry home, but, you know, like also other West European countries, US as well. So our strategy and government was accepting strategy end of last year to, in the next 10 years, to be like, to double our ICT professional base. Today, we have approximately 63,000 only ICT professionals in the country. And our aspiration is to double that number in the next 10 years, which will be very, very tough goal to achieve. That's why I think there is a couple of elements which is important for us. First, I think, is trying to retain our ICT professionals, which means that we need to look in the future to have like good, you know, conditions for those people, salaries, benefits, everything. Because, you know, our country is beautiful, it's secure, one of the top secure kind of country in the Europe about in regards of security, nature, and, you know, it's a nice place to live. But, you know, people wants to earn more. If you just go 200 kilometers to the north, they have 3 or 4 or 5 times bigger salaries, and that's our problem. So what we need to do, we need to see how to, like say, at least increase 50% our salary base in Croatia in next 2 years. I think that's what you know, government and all industries needs to see how to do it. Of course, that's net. So of course we can manage that with the less taxes as well, where we, you know, trying to influence government to kind of recognize that need. But also not just retention, we need to also, if we want to double number of ICT professionals, we need to have like more ICT related universities, and Algebra is a really good example. They have a lot of programs in English as well, which is for us also important, because our general problem in Croatia is that our population is going down, so we don't have enough let's say kids which is born. So we have problem with the fact that population is dropping. So we need to see and find a way how to attract young people, maybe outside the European Union or elsewhere, to move into the country, to live here and to contribute to our, you know, growth and GDP and everything. So this is another pay well to attract people to come to Croatia, to not just for tourism for a week and go home, but to come and stay. And this is what we need to do. Third element, which I think is super important, and actually thanks to AI or artificial intelligence, I think we have some kind of new elements, new momentum about that. So the matter of fact is that actually only 4% of population, total population, is ICT professionals. So 4% are ICT professionals. The remaining 96% are not ICT professionals. But due to AI and guys, the generative AI and NLP and everything together actually hacked humans. So at the moment, like human operating system, which is language, is hacked by machines. So which means that today you don't need to know like Java, you don't need to know Python, you don't need to do like any kind of specific programming language. You can communicate with the computers on your natural language, can be English, Croatian, whatever language, which is good news, right? Because this gives chance that these 96% of population who are not ICT like professionals by education, they can also program and work with the computers, providing good prompts and apply this AI technology as a really new democratic way of doing things into the wide industries and actually across all areas of human work. So we see that as a kind of enabler, which will give us chance to maybe also like move or include these, some of the people from this 96% of our population to work on more digital related jobs. So that will be people, experts in their domains, not necessarily ICT professionals that will be heavily involved in actually working on digitalization of their companies, businesses, and things like this. So I think this is good momentum that we should embrace. We should increase our knowledge about AI, and we should try to really move on fast. Also, maybe to mention a couple of things which we're doing very well in Croatia. Let's say, of course, there is things we don't do well, but like what we're doing well is like education of young individuals. We have, for example, probably for the company called STEM. STEM is the company actually now they're providing this kind of training for 250 schools. They have training on AI, robotics, additional mathematics, additional physics. So they have a platform with all these schools, and there is a lot of young people who are not initially, but do this robotics, playing with the robots, playing with the programming in that platform. Finally, mathematics, they're kind of getting more kind of closer to the IT area, and they figure it out that they can do a lot of things without being mathematicians in the first place. Like with robots, you can be creative, you can do design, you can do a lot of things which traditionally was closed for IT professionals. I know when I started to do IT, I'm an IT professional as well. In order to do the programming, which was assembler at that time, you need to know hardware. First of all, you need to learn about the hardware, which processors you have, what memory you have. And then you was programming in assembler that particular hardware. Later on, there was new language tools, which is more like human-like. You don't need to know hardware. But today with AI, you don't need to know any of those. You just need to know what is problem you want to solve, to explain that in your natural language, and you can do the amazing things with AI. And this technology is now moving very, very fast. It was boom this year with ChatGPT, but these days there is plenty of different tools. And I think maturity of that industry will be at the end of this year. So I do next year opt all our digitalization programs here. We need to use vouchers like we have today in Croatia, which is also a good thing we did. To move workforce very, very fast to some totally new jobs, because, some of the jobs will not exist anymore, particularly which is manual, where you can automate with the solutions. But, AI will not replace people, but will create new opportunities for people to do more meaningful work, where humans can apply their creativity, while this like manual work should be left to the machines, robots, computers, AI, so whatever, So I think there's unique challenge. We are a new revolution, like probably internet was a revolution before that, but now we're in an age of new revolution, which is going even on faster pace. So we need to be very, very fast as a society in Croatia to adopt those skills. Maybe that's for introduction at this stage, but later on we can discuss, right?
Thank you very much for this introduction. And Now to our last panelist for today, and giving him the stage as well for some introducing remarks for you to get to know him. He is Fabio Nascimbeni, and he is the human capital development expert in charge for peoples and their skills at the European Training Foundation. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And actually, so I will not be talking about a specific coalition, nor I will be talking about the EU, because my organization actually, yes, we are an agency of the EU, but we work around Europe. So we among development, including digital skills, but we work, as you can see there, in countries in the European neighborhood. So the South Med, the Western Balkans. We used to work in the past with Croatia as well, when it was not a member of the EU. Central Asia, so the famous stance, and the Eastern Partnership, so Ukraine and so on. Actually, since I don't have a coalition to present to you, I will take some ideas which have been actually shared this morning, and actually I appreciated very much this idea of the fact that, which was not really said before, the fact that what we mean by advanced digital skills will not be the same. I think this is crucial actually, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and this we can discuss it later. So I will basically share a few thoughts on what we see from our, let's say, observatory of what happens around Europe. Thinking and very much convinced that what happens around Europe is very important for the EU. Of course, this is we are in the year of skills, and one of the most important things that the commissioner, the president of the commission said last year when she announced the European Year of Skills was, we need skilled people, we need talents, including in digital skills, coming from outside Europe as well. So we have issues in Croatia, but in Italy the same. So we have an aging population, we have a lot of pressure. So what happens around Europe is as important as what happens within. So here I won't go in detail on what we do in the area of digital skills at the ETF, but the issue is that we typically respond to two kinds of actors. The Commission, so the European Commission is asking us to get active on things for the Commission and to governments in those countries. Now, the increase of priority of digitalization and digital skills is the highest increase in demand from countries that we've seen ever. So actually, it is really digital skills, digital transition, and digital education as such is actually top priority in these countries, and these countries are looking at the European Union. Not only, of course, we have a big geopolitical competition for some of these countries especially, but actually it is really a top priority for them and therefore for us. Second message, the key challenges in our partner countries, so remember South Med, Western Balkans is accession countries, so it's practically, very similar to many European countries, but then we have Central Asia and Eastern Partnership. So basically the key challenges, if you read them, again, I won't go in detail, but what we have been discussing this morning, thinking of Europe and thinking of countries like Italy, like Ireland, actually, which have a lot of work done in this field, much more in terms of history of work and history of reflection than some of these countries. Don't think of Israel, don't think of Turkey, think of Uzbekistan. These countries are really hard countries for policy making. They are not really easy cases, but the challenges are very similar. So challenges like the need to rethink how we train teachers, the need to know what do we mean for digital skills now, today, and tomorrow, what is advanced, what is basic, the issue of digital inclusion and so on. If we look at what emerges from our reports on these countries, it's not different from Europe. So this is making us think much more that we need actually really a joint approach within a large Europe. This is a framework that we are using actually to support governments in these countries, and it's also based on some discussions with some European countries, with CEDEFOP, with UNESCO, and so on. And that basically we try here to snapshot the different areas of digital education, starting from the questions that a typical policymaker from a transition economy, but not only, is having on the table. And actually, we are implementing this now in a few countries. You see there Algeria, Egypt, Moldova, and Central Asia. And this is, for us, we are starting to think about this, and we are proposing this as a preliminary step, as a preliminary mapping step for the creation of some sort of digital skills and job coalitions in these countries. I will tell you later about an attempt which was done in a specific region to create this sort of coalitions. But actually, what the first question that these governments are asking us all the time is, can we map what is there? Because actually they don't really know it. We don't know it. I mean, it's difficult to know in countries where we have for at least 4 or 5 years a machine working and mapping. Countries, let's say the first thing is always mapping, and we think that this could be a good way to map. We have the link there if you want to explore further, and we are working on this. Of course, there is a big issue of engagement, and again, not easy in these countries to engage, for example, civil society, trade union, SMEs. It's not as smooth as here. And then the issue of animation. This is actually, I called it wisdom because this resonates a lot with what was said this morning by the European Commission. Is basically some ideas that we are sharing and using with these countries and with our stakeholders. So the main concepts there, talking about governments, is this whole of government approach. So the fact that it shouldn't be the Irish, for example, computer society or the Ministry of Education alone pushing. You can have somebody pushing, but the first recommendation in 2 or 3 of the latest report on digital education is that as we should have as many government to be really, let's say, sustainable. Then, of course, we have the issue of investment, and now in Europe we have a big deal with the plan for recovery. But these countries, in many of these countries around Europe, there is, I don't want to say more money than capacity to spend, but in some cases it is like this. So we have, in many cases, money and resources is not the issue. The issue is to know actually what to do and where to focus. And then we have something which can sound quite obvious to you, but the fact that educators needs to be included. And for example, Italy, I think, is doing a great job with the citizens and educators inclusion, but it's not obvious, again, that educators and school leaders should have a say. The role of research, which was said this morning by the Commission as well, and then the famous policy cycle and policy monitoring, which is also something we need to, let's say, support these countries in. This is just a snapshot of some work which is being done, funded by the European Union in the Eastern Partnerships. The project is called EU for Digital. This is an old slide, so I'm still talking about, this is still true, that digital skills is a priority in all these countries, so Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine, and Azerbaijan. The fact that there is an ambition to measure their development in line with the EU, and DESI is being used and adapted there. In the first version of this large program, a few million euros, they use the word digital skills and job coalition. So the ambition is no more there. They talk about coalitions, stakeholders. So this is showing, and this is a message to, you who lead these coalitions, that is not so easy to do it. So it's not like something you put together in institutions and it works. So it was a bit, let's say, put in more realistic terms. Finishing with a few reflections. The first, looking beyond we do this as a job, but actually I think that every time we are too European-centric, we think, okay, I'm coming from Italy, I'm coming from Croatia. Looking at the EU, I'm already internationalizing my view. It's not the case. Just one data. If you look at the growth of the edtech industry, last year, 2022, India appeared into the picture. So this is bizarre. I mean, India wasn't there. We had a lot of China, a lot of US. Now, India has developed, actually in 1 year, I don't know how they did it, an edtech industry. So this, for example, has a meaning, and this is just the case. You know, the world around us is really moving a lot, and I think we should be looking beyond the EU as much as possible. This is another snapshot from some work we are doing. We are actually trying to measure in the Western Balkans the development of digital skills, basic and advanced. This is work in progress. It's not, let's say, we are publishing a report on this, but here the message, apart from the fact that these countries have lower percentages with respect to the EU, is that bench learning is key. What we are going to be doing, apart from measuring these data, is actually to work with these countries in, let's say, in view of a proper bench learning, and try to see what we did good, what we did not do good, and what they can learn from our experience. The second is to look at the whole picture. I mean, if we think 1 year ago, when artificial intelligence was not in these circles, what were we talking about? Do you remember? Learning analytics. What was in the agenda? A bit of metaverse. So actually, but I have the feeling that when we talk about digital skills, education, we don't touch other important issues like the increase in as a policy design principle. So it shouldn't be just something you think about, you know, at a certain point of your policy. We've missed that, and so on. So these are just some reflections. I know that my organization is new to some of you, but that's my email in case you want to explore further what we do. There I am. Thank you.
Fabio. The lunch break is approaching fast, so we are almost out of time. I would like to ask our panelists one more question, which I would invite you, if you wish, to respond with just one word or one sentence. What is the one key element as a support that the coalitions receive? What are you needing as the support that you need to continue your work or to even better your work?
Yeah. So this works? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So first of all, in Croatia, we are proud that we have European Union, you know, like values also coming with the platforms, with the association, and I'm looking forward to what Tomislava was presenting, that there is more kind of services there that we can. This is really for our part as a small nations of all things, good things that Europe is doing, and they're doing well, good things. In AI was mentioned, so AI act or legislation, how to use, not to misuse technology, you know, to have like to in sense of human rights. I think all this stuff is very good, and Europe is leading the way in that sense, and in that sense, we are proud as European that we really like doing the technology right way. So this is important. What I think we should work in the future, because pace of change is like will be much faster in the future than it was till now. Somebody maybe is thinking we already like hectic, we run fast, but this is nothing. What's going to happen in 2 or 3 years? Like to have continuous education to catch up, because technology, robots, everything will come and will be here, part of everything we do with us at home, at work, everywhere. So I think what is the key strategic element I think we should focus on is not knowledge itself. but it's ability to learn. So ability to learn fast will be fundamental criteria for humans, right? So if you're able to learn fast, forget, learn again, you know, like that's the key thing. You can't just have like a lot of knowledge in your hand and then you kind of find it.
When in annual face-to-face meeting, National Coalitions adopted the declaration about recommendation for digital decade targets and questions for national coalitions, but also requests for European Union. The recommendation for national coalitions was about to have a more focused approach in some important dynamics, as there is said. So have a capacity to have the capacity of impact evaluation of the actions. So the ability to have a measurement of their plans, their implementation of the plan, and all of the aims, because we have many initiatives, but the data are not good for Europe. And for a European Union, as the recommendation was, the request was about the recognize the strategic role of the national coalitions in the countries, and this means that if there is a consultations or a co-design for a new politics, a new program, national coalitions have to a strategy for the countries, and this is not in this moment the situation. So this is the declaration. Was adopted. I think it will be also published in the platform.
Very briefly, I think what coalitions need, from my point of view, policy level within Europe and around Europe, is this foresight capacity, what was said there. I mean, we need to be able to translate research results, even from neurosciences, not just from, pure educational sciences, into actionable ideas for policymakers, keeping in mind, and this is my outside the EU. So the EU, the Delta Group, and all these groups working on it, from time to time, they get extra European inputs, and every time this happens, actually, there is a big surprise. So I think this is important, and I think it is important to equip policymakers, decision makers, policy shapers, and members of these coalitions to really the beginning of this, even if we just think about robotics and AI. And it's now, I mean, if you know what's going to happen, you will be less scared of it. You know how to govern it. You know at least how to try to govern it. But to do this, you need not only a foresight mechanism and an observatory mechanism on technology and society, but also the capacity to for policymakers, which is a big barrier.
To our speakers here in the room, do we still have the online speakers available, and would they like means if they are still around?
Yes, I'm still here, Mary. And just very quickly, this has been a fantastic session. I've really enjoyed listening to all the presentations, but I think that the one point that's really strong for me from this is that the value of the coalitions is through collaboration, whether that's on a national level or whether that's among all of the coalitions in Europe. I think the platform that Tomislava has spoken about has been key in driving that collaboration. Many of the novel ideas and approaches that were discussed today are covered comprehensively in that platform. And I think it's really important that that continues to be a factor and an everyday experience for people in coalitions. And finally, I think that one really important assistance that could be given to coalitions would be to establish some kind of structured, sustainable funding for on a national level, because all of the members, the people collaborating in the coalitions, they're all busy in their day-to-day activities of upskilling the population, but we need some support for the collaboration and the coordinating and bringing together of all of those people on a national level. So some element of resource funding on an ongoing sustainable basis would be very, very helpful. Thank you.
Tomislava, do you have some final?
Yes, I would support Mary actually in her last words. I think sustainability is a key word here. Since we have been working together for quite some time already, I know that it is sometimes a challenge for national coalitions and the coordinators of the national coalitions to actually keep members engaged and active as they wish. And I think there we go again also to what the other speakers were saying about recognition. I think Nello mentioned it. Recognition at European level is also very important in order to bring all relevant stakeholders at national level within the coalition. I know that there are some coalitions that struggle to bring all, let's say, relevant ministries or government bodies into the coalition. So for me, sustainable funding mechanism and recognition are the two key things that were already mentioned, but in combination they would be beneficial for the functioning and further collaboration of the network of national coalitions. Thank you.
With this, we are about to end. I'll say a bit. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you very much for your time. I think what we heard were a lot work on, and we also heard there's a broad challenges that we're facing in terms of digital skills development, and broad challenges need a broad response. And I think the point of the coalitions that we've heard time and again is it's a collaboration of very different types of stakeholders. We have different types of stakeholders represented here today, representing the nations, and that's the key for it, that we bring different aspects to the table. We can't cover everything, and not one entity can cover everything. And then it's important that we get these experts on different aspects, be it AI, be it digital inclusion, be it some other aspect that we can't go into today, is all that brings it together. And in that, I hope that you are all inspired to collaborate with the national coalitions, and also to think about, is it possible to form regional, local coalitions? It's something the European Commission has recognized as a very good idea in the council recommendations that Mr. Dimitrov said this morning on the council recommendations on digital education, where there's a call for forming more regional and local coalitions in addition to the national ones. So take this away from the session today. Try to get engaged, try to collaborate, and try to work together, and then we can make a difference.